Big thanks. I'm Greg Jarrett in for Shep. And yesterday at this time, we told you Shepard's interview with the Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was scheduled to air today. But after his chief of staff gave Fox News Channel a 110% confirmation that it was on, the Iranian president's staff called it off late last night. We were told, quote, the president has some bilateral problems he has to deal with, and that the hotel the Iranians were staying in was, quote, in chaos. They said two delegations were fighting and screaming at each other. Now, we're not sure of the details, as we cannot independently confirm that story. Shepard had long planned to take today off. He changed his plans when we were granted the interview with the Iranian president, but when that interview was canceled, he went ahead and rebooked his flights, and that brings us to this morning. Fox News receives yet another telephone call. The Iranians had changed their minds yet again. They wanted the interview to go forward, but Shepard no longer available. Fortunately, our senior correspondent Shawn was, and Eric sat down with President Ahmadinejad. Eric joins us now on the set with a look at part of that interview. Eric, you asked some very tough questions. In return, Ahmadinejad, as I understand, says you're backed by the Defense Department?
That's what he accused me of being. I repeatedly told him that I'm a journalist, I'm asking questions, not giving statements. It was a pretty combative and also very spirited interview. We started off talking about the fact that he has sent a letter to President Obama. I asked him if he received a response yet. He said he has not. And then we discussed his comments about 9/11 that he gave at the UN General Assembly yesterday, and our reaction to that. You wished Americans well, but you have insulted millions and millions of Americans by claiming that the U.S. government had a hand in 9/11. Quite frankly, sir, how could you say such an insane and nutty thing?
Would you address your own president the same way? Would they ever allow you to?
In terms of that remark, sir, in terms of those remarks...
You probably didn't read the full
yes,
remarks.
I was there yesterday. What evidence do you have that the U.S. government is responsible for 9/11?
Well, you're not even allowing me to respond.
Go ahead.
And you insult me as well.
Do you believe that the government had a hand in 9/11?
I did not give an opinion of my own. I actually suggested that a fact-finding group and mission be formed to delve into the truth.
Do you want to pursue a nuclear bomb?
I have said on numerous occasions that we do not want an atomic bomb.
Why should we believe you? You are violating 4 UN resolutions. You've kicked out UN inspectors. Why should the world believe anything that you say on this subject?
We do not insist that you should believe us. We've never said that you should. You are free not to believe us. But why would you insist on imposing your view on us with resolutions, with force?
If I can ask you another question, will you release the 2 American hikers? You can do it right now. You can announce it at this moment in front of this camera that you will release the 2 American hikers who are still being held.
Could you tell me, like, for example, that 2.5 million American prisoners would suddenly be released today or tomorrow?
So you're saying it will have to go through the judicial system?
Yes.
Would you meet with Benjamin Netanyahu?
Why should I meet with him?
To have...
Are you ordering me to?
No, I'm asking.
It seems like you're
then,
ordering
sir, what
me
would,
to now.
what would you say to him?
Why should I meet with him? Or no, I will not meet with him.
And
of course, my message is that they should return to their own homes. They should stop killing people and stop waging war.
Oh, I also asked him if Iran will stop supporting terrorism, and he denied it. Correct?
It was a feisty, at times confrontational interview, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he's used to having a tremendous number of sharp questions thrown at him. You also have an issue, you have a very limited time, you want to try to get these questions in on him, and he's a former professor who I think can filibuster, as he has done in other interviews that I've seen, and just talk and talk and talk, and you've got to try to get to the points that you want to get across and challenge him as much as you can because it's an interview.
Well, there's no free press in Iran, so he's not accustomed to this sort of thing, is he?
Well, also not maybe from some of the American reporters, to some of my colleagues, but you have to get these issues out, and you have to challenge him on these issues of the world.
Talk to us a bit more about his denials that the nuclear program is for anything other than for medical and electricity purposes.
Yeah, he has repeatedly said this, and he said it again. He said that Iran is not interested in a nuclear bomb, as you saw. I raised the issue because of the sanctions. Why should the world believe him? He says, and has said, that a nuclear bomb would be a crime against humanity. And he also said he is open to negotiations, but it has to be in the right tone. I'm paraphrasing here, and apparently that is not the tone we have now, because our diplomatic sources have told us that when Iranian diplomats meet with diplomats of the Security Council countries, there was a meeting with the Foreign Secretary of Britain this week, that the Iranians and our allies come away from those meetings without a meeting of the minds, so it doesn't seem that there's very much progress on that point.
Yeah, he now says he's going to meet with the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council plus Germany. It's the P+1, as it's called in the past. That hasn't really accomplished much of anything. What do you know about the letter he sent to President Obama?
Yeah, he said that he sent a letter. He has not received a response yet, he said. That letter has to do with what he said are terrorists who are infiltrating Iran from Pakistan and Afghanistan, and says that he basically is waiting for an answer, but this is the first time we've heard about this letter.
Iran not only has supported with arms and money the insurgency against U.S. forces in Iraq, but of course Tehran has a long and distinguished history of supporting terrorism and terrorist groups, Hamas, Hezbollah, and so forth. You asked him about that.
Yeah, well, he accuses the U.S. of being the occupier in Iraq and in Afghanistan, and he said that Iraq and Afghanistan, they have not ended terrorism in the world, so he puts the onus back on U.S.
But he denies being a supporter of terrorism.
Basically, yeah.
Eric, Shawn, nice interview.
Thanks
very much. Well, the Iranian president is staying